Hey, this is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. Alright, so today, or in this moment, I'm going to talk about a big understanding of the art of letting go. So a lot of times I talk about letting go. And I remember when I was younger, people, you have to let that go, just, let go of that hurt, that pain, that relationship, whatever, and nobody tells you how. See, because the art of letting go isn't just about letting go of pain, it's about letting go of your limitations. It's about letting go of what's holding you back. And what's holding you back is you. Honestly, I just want to scream. I wish we were at a seminar right now. I wish we were sitting down in a room with 25, 30 people, and I could express this to you in person. It's much, much more effective and much more powerful. So, the internal awareness techniques and emotional fulfilling techniques, emotionally grounding techniques, those techniques teach you what it means to actually let go. So the last video, I was going over what I call spatial awareness. That technique, I'll go a little bit over it today, but that technique alone is what it means to let go. See, you want freedom. You want freedom from the narcissist. You want freedom from being controlled. You want freedom from holding yourself back. You want freedom in the sense that now you can finally let go and step into your power. Freedom in the sense that you just go out there and live your life the way you want. That you just become who you are. You already are. Not holding back because, when you're younger you get teased or because of this and that. But believe it or not, the person that's holding you back is you. Partly because nobody ever came along and said, hey, let me show you how to let go. You're in a vehicle, a high-tech car, a powerful car, and you never realized it, but you have your foot on the brakes. And you think what power is by pushing on the brakes and pulling back on the steering wheel because it feels powerful. But it's not. You have the brakes on. You're holding yourself back. The very thing that you thought was powerful is the very thing that was holding you back. The phrases internal awareness, emotional grounding, and letting go. Those are all synonymous because the techniques on how to become internal, on how to become emotionally grounded, are the techniques that show you how to let go so you can fly. And all of these techniques are taught in my course, Internal Awareness and Emotional Grounding course. I also teach all of these techniques in my life coaching, one-on-one coaching, and also in the course for men, Crack the Female Code. Why? Because this is what a woman wants to feel when she's with you. This is what allows her to feel connected to you emotionally, because it teaches you how to become emotionally grounded and to open up and let go. Alright, so a little bit more about this first before we kind of explain the technique a little bit. Again, the last video really goes in depth into one of the techniques, and then it shows you another place where you can find more that are on my YouTube channel. So when Jesus said I want to say the Apostle Paul, it's the one that stood up and said, I will never let them do this to you, because he announced that, hey, this is what's going to happen. They're going to kill me, torture me, etc. I want to say Peter or Apostle Paul. I think it was Peter, actually. So regardless of that, when he said, now this, I remember reading this in the Bible, and it really shocked me. I was like, wait a minute, why would he say that? So-and-so was saying that I'm going to protect you, essentially. And by the way, this song, the name is called Freedom by Scott Buckley at scottbuckley.com. So one of the apostles or disciples had stood up and said, I'm gonna, I would never let them do that to you. I think he said I would die before I let them do that. And Jesus said to him, "Get behind thee, Satan." Now this image kind of shows what I'm talking about. It is exactly about what this is about, and it's also using the same symbol, the V, okay? So here's the deal. Imagine your face, I don't know how to explain this, hold on. Okay, I got it. I'm going to see if I can turn this around on my movie editor. Hold on. So imagine the two lines, or call them laser beams, go to a point. So that's your two eyes. So the left on the bottom, where it says big picture upside down, on the left side would be your left eye, the right side would be your right eye. So you're facing towards the point. So it goes from your eyes out in front of you, I don't know, say 12 inches or 18 inches or 10 inches or whatever, and they come to a point. In other words, the two lines converge and come together. This is how I know you're in your logical left brain. Okay, it's very obvious. So your pupils become really small, and they come together like they're aiming a gun or a bow and arrow at a target, like they're aiming at the bullseye. Therefore, they converge together and come to a point at the top, okay? So this would be your eyes going out in front of your face so many inches, or a foot or whatever, and coming together. So when you're like this, the more narrow your eyes, the more focused, the smaller the pupils. This is how I know when you're really, really far in the left brain. And essentially what you've done is you've gone down into your reptilian brain. That's how I know someone's in the reptilian brain, the kill or be killed brain. It is it's literally called the fight or flight brain. Okay, the kill or be killed brain. It's all instinct. It is animal predatorial instinct. This is what Jesus meant when he said, "Get behind thee, Satan." Because when you're in that part of your brain, you're coming from your ego, which is not there's no intelligence there at all. There's no thinking. There's no awareness. And this means you're operating off of the judger brain, okay, which is your left brain, the either or, right or wrong. Everything is right or wrong, therefore you judge everything. It's an unconscious process. In other words, when you're in that side of your brain, it is the processor that does this. Everything goes into zeros and ones, A's and B's. Everything is like what you would call binary. It's either or. There's no other option. There's no other possibility. It's right or wrong. So if you're not of their religion, you're going to hell. If you don't go to their church, you're going to hell. If you don't think the way they think or believe the way they believe, you're going to hell. This is what causes that way of thinking. So a lot of times when you go to churches, everything is judgmental. In fact, one of the things I learned about churches is, and I remember saying this to my pastor, it's like, I thought God said, "Thou shalt not judge." I thought Jesus said, "Thou shalt not judge," or "Judge not, lest ye be judged." And pastor said, "Yeah." I go, "So why are Christians professional judges? They're like the best judges in the world." And I don't mean this in a mean way. Now, here's why. It's because nobody's ever shown them how to get out of this part of their brain. In fact, the church reinforces this. Everything is about rules, structure, and organization, which is the left brain, the either or, right or wrong brain. So if you've had a hard time, like you don't want to judge, but you can't help it, it's just because you're stuck in your left brain and you don't know how to get out. Now, this is the ego brain, okay? It's when you're being egotistical. And this is why Jesus said, "Get behind thee, Satan." Because this is important too. When you are in this brain, when you're linear, you're narrow, you got to understand, your reptilian brain's number one job is to keep you alive. Okay, it'll pull you out of traffic. Have you ever been on a curb and you're about to step off into the street and then something like jerked you back and you go, "Whoa, what was that?" And all of a sudden a bus goes right in front of you, or a car or a bicycle. Well, that was your reptilian brain. It's very instinctual. And by the way, that lower brain, in order to keep you alive, it will override your left and right hemispheres. So regardless of what's going on, its job will keep you alive, and it has been given authority to do so regardless of what you're doing. Now, here's the problem with being in this part of your brain, especially when you're in a social situation. Now, if you're literally fighting for your life, or you're fighting a lion or tiger or bear, like, yeah, this is a good brain to be in. Like, I get it. But when you're dealing with other human beings, it's going to cause conflict. It's going to cause a fight. Now, here's what happens when you're in this dynamic. Have you ever heard that everyone said, hey, it's all about energy, man. It's all about energy. It is. They are correct. I know, because when I made this shift, it became really, really obvious the difference between this and consciousness, or opening up. So what happens is, energetically, you will, if someone is totally open, peripheral, internal awareness, grounded, if you're like this in a very solid way, you will pull them out of that and suck them into this narrow, literally narrow-minded, narrow vision way, where now they're looking at the point and now they're going into argumentative mode. Have you ever heard people say that all narcissists do is argue, argue, argue? It's because they're in this to the extreme. And have you ever heard that narcissists are just everything, they're competitive about every little conversation? This is what it is. This makes people competitive over the stupidest things in the world. So if you're good at something, a narcissist is either going to have to do better than you, or they're going to have to knock you down, and they're going to have to hurt you emotionally, hurt your self-esteem, so you're not as good. Therefore, now I'm better than you, because this way of thinking is either I'm better than you or you're better than me, and I can't let that happen. And what you have to understand is, when they're coming from this perspective, it is a life or death situation to them, even if it's just a normal conversation. But they're operating off of the fight or flight brain, which is everything is instinctual. It's about staying alive. And if you're better than them at something, they have to destroy you. It could be a game of chess or a game of checkers. If they lose, it's like they get this feeling inside that they're going to die, that they're going to get killed by you. So that's why they go on the attack. So you could be having a normal conversation, not even arguing, just sharing. Okay, for example, one time this person that was a narcissist asked me, well, how much did you make this month? And I told them, and they're like, what? It's way more than they make. And they were like, what? I'm like, well, yeah, I made this much last month, and last month a little bit less, etc., etc. And that's when everything went into battle mode. Like he was in a full-on rage. Everything was an argument. Everything was a fight. And that's when this whole nightmare began. So now, do you want to learn how to completely turn this around and let go of all of this? What you do is you completely invert this 180 degrees, and now you have the point going in towards you and going down through your heart all the way past your groin into the earth. All you do is you look out at the point in front of you, and you imagine that point's coming towards you, and it goes into your forehead, your third eye, or your ajna, and then it goes into your head, and then it goes down your throat and all the way down past your groin, and now the tip of the V is down there, and now you have this wide open V. Now it's like a funnel where you can receive information that comes into your body that goes all the way down, because that's how you actually understand communication a lot better. So now what you just created was an open understanding. So when people say be open-minded, this is physically how you open your mind. Now, this isn't just some cool thing to say. No, this is something you'll have to practice, and I'll work with you and I'll show you, like, okay, you're not quite doing that. You got to do it like this. And there's a bunch of little secrets and techniques that I can work with you to get you to drop down inside. And this is how you will fully and completely understand someone when they're communicating to you, because words are not very effective. You really have to feel what they're saying. You got to feel the vibrations. You've got to feel and hear the shift in tone and tonality. And when you do this, it opens you up to your five senses. So now you're picking up on all the information. And now you have a much greater understanding. About, I don't know if it was 12, 14, 16 years ago, a long time ago, I remember when someone just got really quiet and they looked at me and they said, "You're the first person that's ever made me feel understood." That was the greatest compliment I'd ever received in my entire life. I had been working towards this for years, to be able to be that person who could truly listen to someone and understand them in an actual way where you're listening to understand. In order to understand someone, you have to let go of your ego, because the ego is very narrow and closed, and now you're focused on what you're thinking about and you're not receiving what they're saying. If you notice, when you flip this around, you invert it 180 degrees, now it's an open, wide open V, like a funnel, where you're receiving the fullness of what they're saying, including their body language, tonality, etc. And yes, ladies, this is one of the number one skills that I teach men in my communication course, in the course Cracked Female Code. The course is all about communication. See, what a lot of people try to do, men especially, because we like to impress women, we like to push. It's the left brain is the push energy. It's the external push. And the word impress, literally press, means to push. But when you do this, when you do that closed pyramid, triangle thing, you're pushing people away. And that's what a lot of, it's like, God, why won't women talk to me? It's because you're literally, neurologically, energetically, you're pushing them away. That's why a lot of women will say, stop trying. You're like, what do you mean trying? This is how I always am. I remember the first time a woman said this, or a young lady said this to me in high school and college. I'm like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? I like, how am I not being myself? It's because I was thinking, and that's what men do. We think thinking is what it's not. That's not being yourself. Being yourself is opening up and dropping down inside, literally, yourself. But women do it too, not to the extent that men do it, but if anything, women would do it in a more indirect way, but you're still doing it. You got your hair done, your makeup, and it's like we're all trying to get attention. It's like we're fighting for attention, and everyone is yelling and screaming and look at me, look at me, look at me. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's because we want to be loved. We want to feel important. We want to feel special. But the problem is, when you do it this way, you're pushing them away. And there's a much better way. Shift your energy to being internal, and you shift the whole dynamic. All of a sudden, people are giving you their attention. Now, here's why. You walk into a room of 10 people, 100 people, and they're all fighting for attention, and they're flipping their hair, they're swiveling their hips, or they're got bright red lips. I mean, it's like they're screaming for attention, and everyone in the room, every single person wants you to pay attention to them. Because they want to feel important, and everyone should feel important. Now watch how you flip this. You open up and you receive people. So when you walk into the room, everyone kind of looks at you because because number one, you're the only person who's not external. You're the only person who's not fighting and screaming for attention. And everyone looks at you and like, there's something different. They don't quite know what it is, but they can feel it, because people can feel energy even if they're not conscious of it. Their unconscious mind can see that your face is softer, your pupils are a little bit wider, they're pulled apart a little bit more, and they can sense that your energy is different because you've shifted to the other side. Now here's the kicker. You're wide open. You're there to actually listen, to understand. Not to think about what you're going to say next, because that's what everyone does. When you're talking to them, they're thinking, okay, what am I going to say next? What am I going to say to what they're saying? Oh, I know what they're going to say next. And they're thinking, which means they're not actually listening to you. And men, because we're left brain, we're the worst. We're the ones who think. Imagine coming into a room to your wife or your girlfriend or the girl that you like, and you're actually listening to understand. You have a blank canvas. There's no thoughts, there's no thinking in your brain, and there's no feeling in your heart. In other words, there's no energy ping-ponging. It's just open to receive. The most powerful thing you can do as a human being is truly listen to understand and receive fully what people are saying to you, what someone's saying to you. Because do you know what every person wants? They want to be heard. They want someone to finally understand them. Because everybody wants everybody to listen to them, to understand them. And nobody is listening. Nobody is truly receiving the other person in full and complete. Now, when you're in that narrow pinpoint, triangle and it's closed off, people feel that. No matter how much you stare at them and listen to what they're saying, you are literally energetically closing them off. And their body can physically feel that, and they'll talk louder, they'll talk faster, and they don't even know why they're doing it. It's because you've closed them off and you don't even realize you're doing it. So these techniques that I teach, and one of them I just taught, it's about the V where you invert it and you bring the point and go all the way down, etc. And then on the last video, I talked about spatial awareness and how to do that. So don't say, hey, you're not teaching. I am teaching you how to do this. Why is this image so powerful? What is it? It's the same thing that people say about Jesus's pictures. There's no thinking going on inside the brain, inside the skull. It's completely silent. That is why you're attracted to images like this and to Jesus. The heart is silent. The mind is completely silent. That's why people are drawn to me. This is why I can go out at nighttime and deer will bring their babies to me. Animals, coyotes walk up to me. And they just sit there and they get quiet and they look at me. They will come up to me. I had a mama deer bring her newborn baby, 1 or 2 days old, up to me and let me pet it. I was at the park meditating about 4 o'clock in the morning about a year or two ago. And this mama duck and male duck, they had walked around and they came in front, and the mama duck walked right up to me and laid down and went to sleep about half a foot, maybe 12 inches from my left knee. I went for another walk late at night, and there's this little mini bridge, and there's a stream, a little creek that goes underneath, and there was this metal pole with a little bit of wire kind of wrapped around it, about 3 feet high, and there was a little mouse, and it stopped and it looked at me, and it climbed up this and went to the top, and it was reaching out for me. I put my hand out and it crawls into my hand, and it laid down and put its head up against my thumb. Everything that Jesus said, everything that Jesus did was true. All of this stuff that you've heard, you thought were myths, not just about Jesus, but from other people. They're not myths. This is real life. All you have to do is learn how to shift your energy. This is the power of love. See, nobody wants to be controlled. The other way, the closed V or the closed pyramid, is when you're controlling people merely by looking at them the way you talk to them. And let me tell you something. Slavery is over. It's done. Nobody wants to be controlled. They want to be free. When you invert this 180 degrees, drop the V, the tip of the V down inside, now you're an open receiving funnel. all of a sudden your awareness comes back to you, and you take your energy and awareness off of them, because it's rude and disrespectful to put your energy on another person, and it makes them feel controlled, because it is controlling. Trust me, the first time you hear someone say, "I feel like I can just be myself around you," it is the greatest feeling you'll ever have in your life. And all you did was you brought your awareness back to you and the space around you, around your energy. And all of a sudden, people start to relax when they're around you. They feel comfortable around you. And now they want to be around you. They want to be with you. This is how you allow people to be themselves. You don't put your awareness on them. You don't put your attention, your energy on them. When you pull it back to you, all of a sudden they feel free to be themselves. And you're the first person in their life that they felt this comfortable around, where they felt like, wow, I can just be myself around this person. No agendas, no controlling, just being. I can already hear a guy saying, well, what's going to make them stay with you? Well, that is going to make them run from you. Make, that's a controlling word. Stay, that's a controlling word. Make them stay with you, that's a slave master controlling phrase and sentence. You're going to have to let that go. And I promise you, ducks, deer, squirrels, animals will get curious about you. They won't even know why. Some of them will feel comfortable enough to walk up to you and to be with you. And so will she. You know what it is? You know why that duck and that little mouse came right up to me? They just wanted to feel love. Without being controlled, without being anything, without any agenda at all. They just wanted to feel loved. God bless you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is the end of this video. If you like this video, click subscribe, click the like button, and please go ahead and make a comment. And if you want, go ahead and make a donation. There's a donation link right there in the description box below. It's a PayPal link. God bless you guys. I will see you in the next video. I hope this video made a difference.